Have you thought about why some people are not only stressed, but physiologically locked in battle mode? Why does the body stay activated, the mind stay heated, sleep become disturbed, and immunity start behaving like an armed response system? And is it possible that this pattern is clearly visible when Pitta rises in the sixth house? Today, you and I are going to deeply reflect upon a powerful Jyotish Ayurveda principle, the hormonal, adrenal, and stress expression of Pitta in the sixth house. This is especially important for healers, Ayurvedic physicians, astrology students, and New Age practitioners, because the sixth house is not just a house of disease, it is the house of how the system responds to challenge. It governs acute disease, hygiene, critical thought, the small intestine, spleen, immune system, lower waist, lower spine, and the adrenal glands with associated hormones. So when Pitta, the hot, sharp inflammatory principle, becomes excessive here, the result is not random imbalance. It becomes a pattern. The slide states it directly. Pitta is hot, sharp, inflammatory. In the sixth house, it inflames the immune and digestive axis. But this attached slide takes the teaching one step further. It highlights the hormonal and adrenal expression, and this is where the insight becomes extremely relevant for modern people. Because many individuals today are not simply busy, they are chronically activated. The slide identifies this pattern clearly. Chronic stress activation, elevated blood pressure tendencies, hyper-metabolic stress, insomnia from mental heat. And then it summarizes the whole state in one unforgettable line. The system remains in fight mode. You need to pause there, because that is the heart of this teaching. When Pitta intensifies in the sixth house, the body may stop relating to life as experience and start relating to life as combat. The digestion becomes aggressive. The immunity becomes aggressive. The thought process becomes aggressive. And now, as this slide emphasizes, the hormonal axis also becomes aggressive. This means the person may live in a state of constant mobilization, ongoing pressure, heightened internal urgency, reactive physiology, and difficulty switching off. This is why the adrenal dimension matters so much. The sixth house has already been associated with adrenal glands and stress-related response. When Pitta aggravates this field, the stress response may become heated rather than collapsed. That is a key distinction. This is not the slow, heavy, dull stress of kapha overload. This is not the dry, scattered depletion first pattern of vata alone. This is Pitta stress. Pitta stress wants to push harder. It wants to solve faster. It wants to correct immediately. It wants to win against discomfort. So instead of the system resting, it escalates. Instead of cooling, it intensifies. Instead of yielding, it hardens. Instead of digesting life, it attacks life. And this is where the planetary symbolism shown in the slide becomes crucial. The indicated grahas are Mars and the Sun. That is highly meaningful because in the planetary dosha framework, both Sun and Mars are strongly Pitta in nature. They are connected with heat, burning, fever, sharpness, inflammation, overactivation, and metabolic intensity. Mars brings urgency, drive, and inflammatory force. The Sun brings pressure, central control, intensity, and heat. So when you see Mars and Sun energizing a sixth house Pitta theme, you should think of a system that can become overdriven, competitive, hot-blooded, stress-reactive, and unable to downshift. Mars can intensify the feeling that every challenge must be fought. The Sun can intensify the feeling that every weakness must be corrected immediately. And together, in a sixth house framework, they can create a person who is highly capable in crisis, but prone to living as if crisis never ended. That is the problem. The person may be admired for discipline, speed, precision, and resilience, but internally they may be burning. Have you noticed how some people cannot rest without guilt, how some cannot slow down without anxiety? How some lie down physically, but their physiology remains standing at attention. That is exactly the kind of condition this symbolism helps illuminate. The slide's overall pattern states it beautifully. Inflammatory digestion, plus aggressive immunity, plus high stress drive, plus competitive criticism. This is not four separate issues. It is one integrated fire pattern. The digestion runs hot. The immunity reacts sharply, the stress hormones stay elevated, the mind becomes performance-driven and critical, and from there, the disease tendency becomes, as the slide says, acute and inflammatory. That phrase matters because the sixth house already carries acute disease significance. When fiery grahas and pitta logic dominate, illness may not emerge first as dull stagnation. It may emerge as flare, attack, inflammation, pressure, insomnia, heat, burning, irritability, and sudden aggravation. For the healer, this means you should not only ask what symptom is present, you should also ask what is the system's mode. Is the person's body in repair mode or in fight mode? Is their mind in observation mode or in attack mode? Is their digestion transforming or inflaming? Is their immunity protecting or overreacting? This is the sophistication Jyotish Ayurveda offers. It allows you to see that the disease is not only an event, it is often the outcome of a repeated internal stance. For the Ayurvedic physician, this combination may suggest a patient whose Agni is sharp but unstable, whose sleep is affected by mental heat, whose blood pressure or pressure state tendencies are elevated, whose body remains prepared for action even when there is no immediate threat. For the astrologer, this is a reminder that the sixth house is not just about pathology. It is about functional struggle. It is about how a person metabolizes pressure, conflict, enemies, disease, and imperfection. For the new age healer, the message is profound. Some people are not exhausted because they lack power. They are exhausted because their power has been trapped in defense mode. You need to deeply reflect upon that principle. The same fire that can heal can also consume. The same discipline that can protect can also imprison. The same willpower that can overcome disease can also create disease when it never learns to soften. And this is why insomnia appears in the slide. Not just insomnia in a generic sense, but insomnia from mental heat. That phrase tells you everything. The body may be tired, but the fire is still awake. The nervous system may want release, but the inner commander is still issuing orders. The mind may know it needs rest, but the pitta drive says, not yet. So the person stays on in digestion, on in stress chemistry, on in thought, on in self-monitoring, on in vigilance. And over time, that becomes a lifestyle of internal inflammation. This is why the spiritual teaching behind sixth house Pitta is so important. The sixth house is where we learn service, discipline, purification, and correction. But when Pitta dominates, the lesson becomes, can you serve without burning yourself out? Can you correct without becoming harsh? Can you stay strong without staying inflamed? That is the deeper initiation. Because many people with this pattern are competent, productive, and sharp, but they are also one step away from overstrain. They may function well in demanding environments. They may excel under pressure. They may even build an identity around resilience. But healing begins when they realize that living in permanent mobilization is not mastery. It is imbalance. So what is the medicine in principle? Not extinguishing fire, refining it, cooling without collapsing, resting without guilt, reducing reactivity without losing discernment, allowing the body to come out of battle posture, teaching the system that not every moment requires defense. This is where both Ayurveda and astrology become compassionate sciences. Ayurveda gives language for the heat, the inflammation, the hyper-metabolic push, the sleep disruption, and the stress chemistry. Jyotish shows where that fire is being enacted in life, here through the sixth house of disease, conflict, routine, service, and correction. And when the sun and Mars are part of the picture, you must consider not only inflammation in the body, but intensity in the way the person lives. So if you are a healer, ask, where is this person's system trapped in fight mode? If you are an Ayurvedic physician, ask, is the stress axis inflamed along with digestion and immunity? If you are an astrology student, ask, am I seeing the sixth house as a dynamic process of overactivation, not merely a static disease category? And if you are listening for your own growth, ask, have I mistaken constant activation for strength? That question can change everything, because the higher expression of this placement is not weakness. It is disciplined fire in service of healing, not adrenal overdrive, not chronic pressure, not fiery sleep disruption, not life lived in emergency mode, but intelligent courage, regulated vitality, focused discernment, sacred discipline. That is the transformation. And that is the true wisdom of this sixth house Pitta teaching.